is Kelly Dell with Off the Beaded Path. I have a studio location in Forest City, North Carolina. I have a website called offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, and I've been here on YouTube for about the last 10 or 11 years. I am so excited you've joined me today because I'm going to be showing you a super simple stitched bracelet that uses the new Souda Magnetic Clasps. So if you've been around any time in the last couple of months, you know that these are one of my favorite clasps to use. And we got in some size 10 Matubo seed beads. Beautiful, beautiful saturated colors, and I knew I wanted to do something with those. So I'm going to be showing you a super simple 2-drop peyote bracelet and how to attach it to that beautiful Souda clasp. So let's go ahead and get started. Bracelet I want to show you how to make today. You can see that this is called a 2-drop peyote stitch, and I'm using a size 10 Matubo bead to do the stitch because I wanted it specifically with this type clasp. Now, I'm also going to need just 4 little size 15 seed beads along with my beads. You can use any type size bead to do this stitch with, but because I wanted it to go perfectly with this specific clasp, I'm using that size 10 Matubo. So if you've never seen them, this is a size 10 Matubo cylinder. They look like a delica, just bigger and a little bit more rounded in shape is what they look like. So I really, really, really love this stitch. It's a quick stitch, and I think you're going to have a really great time with it. Originally, you can see here, I've got beads laid out everywhere in pile. It's because originally I was just going to do a fun throw beads in a pile and pick them up. Did not like how that looked, so I'm going to do something else. So you'll want a Souda Magnetic Clasp for this project. And you can see it's from the Symbol family, which is made by the Beadsmith Company. As you can see, it's magnetic, but it has a little tab on each of your sides, and it's got a little opening here for each side of your piece so that when you close it in, those little tabs lock into place, so it's hard for it just to pull apart. So that's the great thing about this specific clasp. I'm going to be using the size 8 in the dragon thread. You can use Fireline, you can use 1G, whatever you want. I just have this and I like to use it. Now, I'm using the size 8, but I'm using the crystal. If I was at the store, which I am not right now, I would be using a darker color, but we do what we gotta do. So I have a comfortable length of thread, completely up to you, and we are going to start out with 8 beads because if I look here, I have 2, 4, 6, 8 beads. So I already kind of have my beads laid out here how I want them to look on those first couple of rows. So I'm picking up 8 of my beads. I have 4 of my purple and 4 of my green. If you're using one color, it does not matter. Like this one was, I just pick up 8 of that color. I'm going to pull it down, but I want to leave about an 8 to 10 inch tail so that I can go back and attach here to the clasp without having to add some new thread. So I'm just going to kind of hold that in my hand, and I'm going to be working back in the other direction. The great thing about this stitch is for every one that you do, you pick up 2, you skip 2, and you go through 2 beads. I'm going to hold that in place and pull. So I pick up 2. Oops, let me get it in place here. I pick up 2, 1, 2. I skip 2, and I go through 2. Just like that. I'm going to work back this direction. So I'm going to pick up 2. So I'm going to need 2 green here. And I'm going to come back through 2 beads already in place, just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to pick up 2 and come through 2. Now I'm going to pick up another color, so I'm going to pick up 2 beads and go through 2. Pick up 2 beads and go through 2. So every time you pick up 2, skip 2, go through 2. The 2 that you skip are the lower 2, the one we go through are the upper 2. Now the first 2 down here, like these right here on the end, they stick out just a little. Don't worry if they do that. We can fix that when we go to attach your little clasp there. So now I'm just going to work back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, picking up 2 and going through 2. So this time I'm going to be working back in this direction here. And I always put my finger on the 2 that I'm going through. It just makes life a little bit easier there. And I think I actually only picked up 1 bead. Yes, I did. So let me fix that there. See what happens when you try to fix things. It's much easier. Just take your needle off. There we go. I must have dropped it off. Okay. So I've got my 2 there, and now I pick up 2 more, and I come through. So I'm going to continue to pick up 2 and go through 2 back and forth until I reach the end of the length that I need. So the length that you need is going to be completely up to you. Your clasp is going to take up about 3/4 of an inch. There's nothing that we have to add as far as jump rings or anything like that. So you'll want it, the bracelet, to the size you need, less than 3/4 inches that we can attach your clasp to. So go ahead and continue to stitch, and I'll be right back with you. So once you have your length of your piece complete, then you're ready to add your clasp. So I'm going to pour out just a couple of my size 15 seed beads here. And you'll want to make sure to check the holes on your clasp to make sure the holes are good to go. So I am coming out here at the very end of my last row. And if it lays just like this onto the clasp, then I know that I need to go through this end hole and I need to go in this outward motion so that it will lay exactly like it needs to. I'll pick up 1/15, and you want to take and go back through the same hole that you just came out of, and then I'm going to work across the row. Now by going back through the same little hole, what you're doing is you're using that 15 as a stopper. So I'm going to go all the way across here. Sometimes you can do a couple at a time, and then sometimes you can only do one little piece here at a time. And then I'm going to go through the end hole here on this side of the clasp. Pick up a 15. And then what I like to do is I like to, instead of stitching all the way back through, which you can do all the way back over here and going through this one and then back over, is I like to take and stitch through a few rows here on the end. This will kind of, I don't want to say tack it, because it doesn't really tack the thread in place, but it gives another thread pass instead of straight across like this. So then I will just stitch to where I am coming back out. There we go. Go through that little hole, and wow, look at what I just did. That takes talent right there. And then I will continue back across once I have that side reinforced. It should, especially if you're using the size 8 or even the 8-pound fire line, it should be getting pretty thick, I would say, in that little last row you've got there. So that's another reason why I sometimes like to stitch down through here before I come across. So again, I go through the hole, through this little 15, and then back through there we go. It's hard to not go through that 15 again. And then I am ready to stitch through and get rid of the thread that's on this side. And then I'll put a little needle on the tail thread, and I'm going to do the same exact thing to the other side. So once you have both ends of the clasp attached, then you have a beautiful new bracelet that you can wear or give as a gift. As you can see, they look completely different dependent upon the colors of the beads that you use, the pattern, etc., etc. But like I said, for this Souda clasp, these beautiful size 10 Matubos work perfectly for this finding. So friends, I hope that you enjoyed learning to use these size 10 Matubo beads to do a 2-drop peyote stitch. And this clasp, I just love it. I love the clasp because really it can be the top of the bracelet or it can be the bottom. So it's a fun project to do. If you look right below in the video description box, I have direct links to all of the products that you've seen me use today, including the size 10 Matubos and the Souda clasps. I hope you'll join me next time for another brand new video. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.